Hello aspiring mathematicians. In this video we're going to learn about divisibility rules. Before that we are going to go over some vocabulary. So first things first, a factor. Now when I say factor, there are two definitions. A factor is a number that is multiplied by another number to get a product. Now to give you an example, 2 times 7 equals 14. 2 and 7 are both factors. 14 is my product. And a product is just a fancy name to an answer of a multiplication problem. Other similar words would be like sum, difference, quotient. The answer to an addition problem is a sum. The answer to a subtraction problem is a difference. Quotient goes for division problems. So a product is just the answer to a multiplication problem. The second definition of a factor is a number that is divided evenly into a number with no remainder. So factors of 15. What numbers can you divide 15 by evenly? Well, you can divide 15 by 1. 15 divided by 1 is 15. No remainder. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 15 divided by 15 is 1. So all of those will have, if you divide 15 by any of these numbers, you won't have a remainder or a decimal or a fraction. But let's say you divide 15 by 2. You'd end up with 7.5. And so that is not considered a factor of 15. A greatest common factor, or GCF for short. A GCF is the greatest factor shared by two or more numbers. So you're going to have two numbers, like 15 and 21. If you wanted to know what the greatest common factor, the GCF of those two numbers is, well, let's take a look at the factors. The factors of 15 are 1, 3, 5, and 15, just like we learned before. Factors of 21 are 1, 3, 7, and 21. So which is the greatest factor shared by both of them? Well, they both have 1, they both have 3, this one has 5, but this one doesn't. There's a 7, there's a 15, 21. So the greatest factor for both 15 and 21 looks to be the 3. So the GCF of 15 and 21 would be 3 because it's the largest number or greatest number or the greatest factor that both of them share. A multiple. A multiple is the product of two or more factors. A multiple is also known as a product. So going back to this example, 5 times 4 equals 20. 20 would be the multiple because it's the product of 5 and 4. And what two numbers multiply to become? So 5 times 4 is 20. That's 20 would be the multiple. A prime number. Now, a prime number, the opposite of a prime number is a composite number, but a prime number is a special number. It's a number that is only divisible by itself and 1. So some examples of prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, and it keeps going. Pause if you need to if you need to slow down and write this down. But you can only divide these numbers by 1 and itself. So 2 can only be divided by 2 and 1 evenly, I should say. If you take a look at 17, 17 can't be divided by 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 without turning into a decimal or fraction. So 17 would be a prime number. You can only divide it by 1 and itself evenly. All right, let's take a look at some divisibility shortcuts. Now, there's another great video which I'll link to in the description below that'll show you this stuff in action, but I'm going to kind of move through this quickly. So, how do you know if a number is divisible by 2? Well, the ones digit is 0 or even. So examples would be 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. Those are all even numbers. Or if the ones digit is a 0, you know that it's going to be divisible by 2. So 168 is divisible by 2 since the last digit, the ones digit, is even. So 127 would not be divisible by 2 because it's an odd number. All right, 3. How do you know if it's divisible by 3? Well, the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. So the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. So 168 is divisible by 3 because the sum of the digits is 15. So if you add up the digits, 1 plus 6 plus 8, you get 15. And 15 is divisible by 3. Now, you can also, if you weren't sure whether 15 is divisible by 3, you can add those two numbers up. 1 plus 5, that's 6. And 6 is divisible by 3. All right, 4. The last two digits, the tens and the ones place, are divisible by 4. So in this case, we're going to use 316. We only are looking at the tens in the tens in ones place. And if 16 is divisible by 4, then 316 is divisible by 4. So 16 is divisible by 4. That means 316 or 416 or 1,000,016 are all divisible by 4 because the tens in the ones place is divisible by 4. For number 5, this one's an easy one. Many of you know this one. If the ones digit is a 0 or a 5, then it's divisible by 5. So 195 is divisible by 5 because the ones place is a 5 or a 0. 200 is divisible by 5. 105 is divisible by 5. But 21 is not because the ones place would be a 1. Rules for 2s and 3s, sorry. For 6, if it's divisible by 6, the rules for the 2s and 3s both work. So 168 is divisible by 6 because the ones place is even. If you look at that 8, it's even. And the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. So if I add 1, 6, and 8, that equals 15. And, 1 plus 5 equals 6, and it's divisible by 3. So if you apply both of these rules, the 2s and the 3s rules, then the number should be divisible by 6. For 8, how do you know if it's divisible by 8? Well, the last 3 digits, the hundreds, tens, and ones, are divisible by 8. So if I have a big number like 7,120, it is divisible by 8 because 120 is divisible by 8. This one is kind of a trickier one because you can get some pretty big numbers. 9. How do you know if it's divisible by 9? Well, the sum of the digits is divisible by 9. So it's similar to the 3's rule. You add up the numbers. So I have 549. If I add up 5, 4, and 9, I get 18. 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. So 18 is divisible by 9. Now, if you weren't sure whether 18 was divisible by 9, you add them up. 1 plus 8. 1 plus 8 is 9, and 9 is divisible by 9. And finally, the tens rules. You all probably already know this one. It is the ones digit is 0. So 1,470 is divisible by 10 since the last digit is 0. Anything that has a ones digit of 0 is divisible by 10, except for 0. So again, I'm going to show you, leave a link at the bottom with another great video that shows all this in action. But these are some shortcuts that'll help you figure out whether a number is divisible by any of these numbers, these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10. So it'll help you find factors. Good luck.